Welcome to the Invite Health podcast, where our degreed healthcare professionals are excited to offer you the most important health and wellness information you need to make informed choices about your health. You can learn more about the products discussed in each of these episodes and all that Invite Health has to offer at www.invitehealth.com/podcast. First-time customers can use promo code podcast at checkout for an additional 15% off your first purchase. Let's get started.
When we think about the human immune system, we have to understand that it is a very complex series of pathways and different enzymes and reactions that occur to give us the ability to fend off different bacteria, viruses, parasites, and it really is in and of itself a very, very intricate series of steps that occur. And so much of this is truly dependent on how we take nutrients in from our diet, as well as supplements that we are taking. And we know that if we are lacking even just basic vitamins and minerals, this can really impede our immune system's ability to fend off these types of foreign invaders. And that's exactly why today I want to talk about different things that you can be doing when it comes to optimizing your immune defenses. And specifically, I want to talk about mushrooms. And this is really a fascinating bit of information when we look at the science behind mushroom extracts. So not only incorporating mushrooms into your diet, but also utilizing mushroom extracts. So I am Amanda Williams, MD, MPH, and today I want to talk about all of the different health benefits that go along with mushroom extract. And we know that mushrooms, when we're utilizing them as a dietary supplementation, they provide nutritional support for a healthy immune system. So we talk about all of the ways that the immune system is working. We know that when we incorporate these in, we are now exposing our body to a high amount of antioxidants and polyphenols and flavonoids. Also, mushrooms, interestingly enough, have naturally occurring vitamin D, as well as other vitamins, minerals, essential fatty acids, all of these things that our immune system relies on. And this is sometimes very much so overlooked when we think about the role of B vitamins or zinc, vitamin C, all of the ways that our immune system has to respond to foreign invaders is solely reliant on this. So by having mushroom extract on board as a supplement, this helps our body in terms of enhancing our vitamin D status, our essential fatty acids, so those omega-3 fatty acids, looking at those key minerals that we know are important and integral to fending off viruses and bacteria and parasites. So all of this has been studied extensively when we look at mushrooms. And one thing that I will say about mushrooms, this isn't something that's new. We know that mushrooms are an integral part of traditional Chinese medicine. It's been used for hundreds of years for a variety of different human health conditions. And we know globally now that mushroom extract has really gained a lot of momentum because of the advanced scientific evidence showing just how it is that the mushrooms are working. So we know when it comes to anti-aging, for example, Penn State University, they were looking at how mushrooms are packed with all of these antioxidants, which can really help to fend off oxidative stress and damage done at that cellular level. And they said that the mushrooms contain an unusually high amount of two specific antioxidants that the scientists and researchers at Penn State University believed could help fight off aging at the same time bolster health. So this particular study found high amounts of ergothioneine and glutathione from mushrooms. Now, what do we know about glutathione? Well, we know that glutathione is one of our most important endogenous antioxidants, which is really quite key because we know that as we get older, sometimes our natural production of glutathione goes down. The more things we are exposed to via coming from our foods, coming from our environment that we live in, these antioxidant levels can start to go down. So we know that oxidative stress is going to create cellular damage and mitochondrial dysfunction from those free radicals. And when those free radicals do a significant amount of damage, it can alter the true functionality of the cell, which is going to screw up many different functions that the body relies on each and every single day. And we can look at metabolic detoxification, for example. If the body is losing its ability for those hepatocytes, those liver cells, to do what it needs to do every single day, then that becomes a major problem. So in this research that was published in the Food Chemistry Journal, they were analyzing the actual amounts of ergothioneine along with glutathione from mushrooms, and they found that certain mushroom extracts had incredibly high amounts of these two very powerful antioxidants. And this is one of the reasons why these researchers have started to delve more into it, because they've recognized that countries that have high amounts of mushrooms in their diets, and mushrooms that contain an awful lot of ergothioneine and glutathione, have lower incidence of neurodegenerative diseases, for example, as compared to here in the United States. So lower amounts of Parkinson's, Alzheimer's disease, mild cognitive impairment, also known as like early onset dementia. So all of these things that they've been able to recognize from other regions of the world and their dietary intake. Now, Penn State University also recognized the importance that mushrooms were playing as a prebiotic and how this actually was helping to stabilize blood glucose levels. So they're very much into mushroom research at Penn State University, which I think is really quite interesting. But from this study, what they were analyzing was looking at how mushrooms could actually change the composition of gut microbes, that microbiome that we talk about so often, how that plays an integral role in terms of our immune system, but also in that gut-brain connection. And they realized that these mushroom extracts, or the mushrooms that you take in from your diet, they play a really key role in the production of these short-chain fatty acids. And it is through that it works in a sense as a prebiotic. And through that stabilization of the microbiome, they have found that can actually help to regulate the blood glucose levels. And this is something that I think shouldn't be kind of overlooked, because what the researchers were indicating from this was that this could actually pave a way for diabetic treatments in the future. So it's not just about the antioxidants, it's also about that communication within the gut microbiome. So since we are in cold and flu season and we're still dealing with COVID-19, we certainly want to focus in on how mushrooms can enhance our immune system. And what we recognize is there is extensive research on how mushrooms help to boost our immunity. And the University of Florida, their Institute of Food and Agricultural Sciences, they actually did a really cool study. And what they did is they had people take mushrooms as part of their dietary intake every single day. And they took a group of healthy young adults, so between the ages of 21 and 40 years old, and they had them come to their main campus. They're in Gainesville, Florida, and they gave them a 4-week supply of dry shiitake mushrooms. And they said, okay, take these home and incorporate these into your diet every single day. So they gave them different recipes. This is how you can use these mushrooms. And then they were analyzing their blood. So they did serum blood testing prior to the experiment and then at the end. And they were looking at key markers in the blood that showed just how effective these mushrooms were when it came to increasing the body's ability to heighten its immune defenses, which I think is really quite impressive. Once again, they were talking about the fiber aspect of that and how that helps to enhance the immune defenses. And this was all published in the Journal of the American College of Nutrition. But I think the one thing to kind of take away from this is that just in a 4-week time span, they saw this significant shift in terms of T cell activity, in terms of the reduction in inflammatory proteins found in the body. And for me, I think that that's something that we shouldn't hold lightly. We shouldn't just say, oh, okay, well, they took healthy individuals and they gave mushrooms for a month, and then next thing you know, hey, they have kind of this superhuman immune defenses. No, I think that that's kind of the key point to take away from that, is that you have healthy young adults who they could actually improve upon their already healthy immune system just by incorporating shiitake mushrooms for 1 month. And so this is one of the reasons why I like to talk about all of the many different benefits that go along with mushroom extract. Now, we have a great formulation. Ours is called Mushroom HX. So if you go to our website, invitehealth.com, and you check out the Mushroom HX, this is an 8 mushroom blend. So it comes from all of these really powerful mushroom extracts that have been studied individually in terms of their overall health benefits. So it has turkey tail extract, it has cordyceps mushroom, maitake, shiitake, reishi, chaga mushroom, lion's mane, as well as royal sun. And a lot of these people probably haven't heard of. Maybe the shiitake and reishi mushrooms people have heard of, but what we know just from the science alone is that these powerful nutrients can really help to bolster up our overall immune defenses. And I think that it's a key thing to walk away with and understand that when we're looking at the intake of mushrooms in our diet, we look at the powerful antioxidants that are contained within mushrooms, that we should start to recognize. And for myself, I certainly get this because I was never a fan of mushrooms growing up. I mean, if there was a mushroom near a salad or on, a piece of pizza or something like that, I would run the other way. I now have more of a palate for mushrooms, and I certainly now understand the true power of mushrooms. And when we think about how it is that just consuming mushrooms in our diet, just that alone, what that can do for our overall health. And then we look and say, okay, well, now if we take this highly potent extract of mushrooms, this can really make a huge impact. And this is part of the reason why I like to talk about the Mushroom HX formulation, because oftentimes people will come in and they'll look at the Mushroom HX formula and say, okay, well, why would I be utilizing this? And we certainly know just from scientific research, a lot of cancer research has been done using different strains of mushrooms. And I'm not going to get into all of the details on that, but we definitely know when it comes to the inhibition of cell adhesion, when it comes to cell invasion, there's a lot of different ways in which mushroom extract really packs this power punch to help the body fend off all of these different issues, not just free radicals and not just the issues that can come up with things that we're exposed to in terms of toxins from our foods and toxins from the air that we breathe, but we also recognize at that very minute cellular level what it is that those mushrooms are actually doing. And there is a worldwide group of scientists that come together, and they are known as the Mushroom Council. But what's quite interesting about this is that each year they meet and they talk about the newest trends in terms of the way mushrooms have been studied over the course of that year, and looking at all of the different nutritional and bioactive compounds that are found within mushrooms, all of the powerful flavonoids, the catechins, the carotenoids, those fatty acids, all of the different things that they've been able to detect from their extensive scientific research. And it has been suggested that ergothioneine in particular should be designated as a vitamin because of its unique role in protecting the mitochondria. So I think we talk about that study from Penn State that said, hey, this, mushrooms has a lot of this ergothioneine, which is really, really helpful at this cellular level. Well, the Mushroom Council, they were looking at a study that was published in 2010 in the Cell Death and Differentiation Journal, and talking specifically about how that ergothioneine was doing such a wonderful job in terms of helping to support the mitochondrial function. And remember, the mitochondria is required for that ATP generation. So that's the actual manufacturing of energy, which I think is really quite key. But we know that across the board, the way in which mushrooms have been studied when it comes to oral health, when it comes to helping to support the dentin, and we know that the demineralization that can occur. So when people are eating mushrooms as a whole food, that we see the benefit even within the oral cavity. So thinking about the microbial environment within the mouth, but also when we look at the actual chemical makeup of our teeth. So many different ways in which the association between intake of mushrooms and lowered risk of certain diseases and conditions has been shown time and time again when we look at mushroom extract. Now, in the Journal of the Federation of American Societies of Experimental Biology, they were looking at how the consumption of whole shiitake mushrooms could help to improve immune function. And once again, in this particular study, they were looking at things like TNF alpha, which is tumor necrosis factor alpha. They were looking at these different inflammatory proteins in the body. And they found, once again, that after just 4 weeks of supplementing the diet with shiitake mushroom, they had this complete decrease in all of these inflammatory markers. So I think that when it comes down to mushrooms' overall health benefits, there are so many ways in which we can incorporate this, not just for the immune system boosting ability, but also recognizing, hey, this can be good for the brain. This is great when we think about the cellular components in terms of the way cells divide, in terms of the way the cells generate energy. A lot of different ways in which mushrooms can support our health. And I certainly encourage you to go to our website and check it out. Mushrooms HX. It's an 8 mushroom blend, really fabulous formulation. And that is all that I have for you for today. I want to thank you so much for tuning in to the Invite Health podcast. Remember, you can find all of our episodes for free wherever you listen to podcasts or by visiting invitehealth.com/podcast. Now, do make sure that you subscribe and you leave us a review. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Invite Health, and we will see you next time for another episode of the Invite Health podcast.